This conference will now be recorded.
Good afternoon and welcome to my two guests today. I've got Katie Tanner with me, who is Head of Learn to Swim at Swim England, and also Kerry Watkis, who's Head of Insight. And what we're going to do today is just have a quick conversation about the information that we've managed to generate as part of our 47,000 response survey around returning to swimming lessons. So, Katie, I'm going to turn to you first. What sort of stuff have you taken from the data? What insight have you generated from the data that we created, Katie?
Sure, I think it's been really interesting and really valuable for us to see the customer confidence piece, especially around teachers teaching from the pool side. And obviously they might have to move their non-swimmers and beginners into deeper water to maintain social distancing guidelines. So what we've managed to do then is create a suite of CPDs to support our teaching workforce, not only to give them the confidence to be able to deliver under these guidelines, but also to help improve the customer confidence as well. So they know that these teachers have undertaken additional training to ensure the safety of their children that are in the pool. Which was really great for us. Another thing that I really enjoyed seeing was the fact that they were able to look at different ways in which that they could deliver lessons. So either through a crash course or a one-to-one, or maybe even a family-led session. So I think it's given our swim schools the opportunity to have a look at different ways in which that they could manage their pools and set up their lesson structures.
Okay, that's really interesting, because I think the value from our point of view as LeisureNet has always been about trying to put the customer at the centre of the decision-making process and the planning process. And the stuff you've just alluded to there is actually really powerful, because it then links to learning and development and for the team. And as you know, I'm part of SIMSPA, and that workforce piece is really important to us. So how do people access that sort of CPD? Where do they get information on that from?
Yeah, so we're actually using the Institute of Swimming as our host platform for the CPDs. Currently, some of them are sold out, but we are looking for additional dates, and we are going to pre-record the CPDs as well, so people can go back and look at them in their own time. Okay,
that's really useful. And coming to that sort of customer voice stuff, Kerry, and using that to help give confidence and things like that, what sort of marketing activity are you going to put in place to try and address some of the things that we found out through the survey?
Yeah, so we're going to be using this insight to help drive our upcoming marketing campaigns that we have planned at the moment. One of our first campaigns will be around Love Your Club. So while this survey really focused specifically on swimming lessons, we know that almost half of their clubs have some kind of learn to swim element to them, which will help support them. The findings will help support them, but not just for their Learn to Swim division, but actually for some of their squads as well. We think that the findings actually will be very similar to what we'll find from club members and their intentions to return to the water, and how the club members, parents and families feel around them returning to the water. So it really helps us to drive some of our marketing activity, our web articles, and any resources for clubs, as well as for Learn to Swim.
Okay, it's a really interesting dynamic, isn't it, that whole club program piece, because ultimately most of those organisations are going to be reliant on the operator who they hire the pool from. So I guess this sits in quite closely with all of the guidance that Swim England have put out around reopening pools as well. So is there specific information for swimming clubs and for the operators to understand how a swimming club is going to want to operate in the new post-COVID world? Sorry,
yeah. Kerry. Katie, you might want to pick this one up, but we have a lot of articles out at the moment specifically for clubs. A lot of our social media at the moment is geared up towards supporting our clubs and members through this. And we have a lot of work going on as well with a club and operator task force to develop some guidance around the relationships between club and operators, which is going to be more important now than ever before.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just to add to that as well, just that the club guidance has been written to take into consideration the other aquatic disciplines as well. So it does cover off diving, artistic swimming, and synchronized swimming, as well as that competitive element. So within that club guidance, it takes into obviously consideration the key guiding principles that we've set out in our operator guidance, and then put that in relation to a club environment. But very heavily in there, as Kerry said, it talks about that relationship between the club and the operator. to ensure that they come together to offer the best service they can for their customers.
Okay, brilliant, thank you. So I'm going to throw this one in. We didn't talk about this beforehand, but what's the one thing that surprised you from the data that's come out of this? So I'm going to give that one to Kerry first. Has there been a surprise in there for you?
I guess probably the speed at which people intend to return their child to lessons has been a little bit of a surprise. I mean, other surveys that have taken place, not looking at swimming lesson parents specifically, but more generally around looking at return to the gym, return to leisure centres as a user, have always put their intention to return as quite high, in the 80%, 80 to 90%, but their intention to return quite quickly has been much lower. More around like 40, 50%. So actually having, when we look at it, to get about 95% of parents feeling comfortable at returning their children to the water in September is really, really, well, we're delighted to see actually how many parents are keen to get their children back into the water so quickly.
Brilliant. And I think that whole thing around the life skill piece is really important here, isn't it? It allows you to have so much more confidence when you're out with your child in near open water or whatever it happens to be. I think it's a really powerful message to send. And Katie, was there anything that surprised you?
No, I was going to say exactly the same. I think it wasn't a surprise. It was like, yes, it's great that these parents want to come back, and actually it's given us the opportunity to speak to the parents as well and get their understanding of the water safety messages associated with it. So, and I was also really pleased to see that, you know, we thought it would be quite low around that teaching from poolside or not having an assistant in the water, but as long as, you know, social distances was maintained and the safety element was there, they were still quite happy for that to happen. So, you know, even though it was low, it wasn't as low as I thought it was going to be in that customer confidence in that area. So it was great to see that they have taken on board the guidance and seen that you can deliver in a safe manner.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the piece for me is because I think I got a level 1 swimming teacher many years ago when I was a lifeguard in Gloucester, but I've always been the operator, the person that runs the pool. And the bit that I think there is a little bit of a challenge with is this ability to watch their child. And if they can't watch their child, there was a bit more reticence about coming back, which I get with younger people. So I think from an operator point of view, there's quite a lot in the survey and the results to make you really think about how you set your lessons back up, the types of CPD you offer your staff, and where you can get the type of content from, such as you guys, really get that right. So thank you so much for supporting us on the survey. We couldn't have done it without you. The volume of swim schools that took part in this is down to the partnerships that we managed to create in doing the survey. So thank you very much for your time. And if anybody's watching and they want the survey report, it's free, and there's a tag at the end of this piece of social media so that you can log in and get your free summary report. Ladies, thank you so much for your time. Have a great weekend, and we'll catch up soon. All right.
Thanks, David.
Bye-bye.
Bye.